Today we'll be doing a Mat Pilates session, which is more intermediate to advanced levels. You will want to be familiar with classical Pilates exercises and how to perform them, as we will be moving through them at a quick pace during this session. This is the Benniebarrefitness studio. We'll begin our session today seated on the mat. Take the arms wide, reach up to frame the face, back out wide, and bringing the arms back in front of each other, out in front of the shoulders. Out, in, out, up, out, in. Making sure here that we're sitting up nice and tall, that our shoulders are stacked over top of our hips. Bringing the arms back in front, we're going into the spine stretch. Inhale as you stack up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Exhale as you roll down through the spine, down to your mat, and take the arms up to frame your face. And now roll up, tucking the chin to chest. Reach out forward, and then stack up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. So we're integrating the roll up with a spine stretch. Rolling down one vertebrae at a time, lifting the arms, inhale, exhale, tuck the chin to chest, roll forward one vertebrae at a time, reach forward, and then stack up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Making sure that you're having a nice steady flow of breath, particularly you're exhaling when you are rolling up and when you're rolling back. And when you lengthen out or stack up through the spine, that's your inhalation. Keeping the exhalation on the exertion, rolling down. Exhale, roll up, spine stretch forward, and stack up through the spine. Rolling down again, continuing this motion. Articulating and stretching through the spine, getting the core nice and warm. And reaching and lengthening through the body. This is the final one here, stretching up tall through the spine and lengthening. Go ahead and come down onto your back. Float the legs up into tabletop. Peel up head, neck, and shoulders and reach the legs out long towards 45 degrees as you go into the 100. Inhaling for 5 pulses through the arms and exhaling for 5. We're taking 10 full sets, inhaling for 5. And exhaling for 5. We're inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, making sure that we keep those shoulders rolled down and back along the mat, and that our arms are pulsing close towards the mat here. Nice strong pulses, getting the blood flowing, the circulation going as we reach those legs out long, toes across the room. If it is too much to maintain a neutral spine and pelvis at 45 degrees, take the feet up towards 90 degrees towards the ceiling. Tuck the knees in and give a little rock from side to side. Now float the legs up towards tabletop, and we're going to take a supine spine stretch. Lift the legs back up into tabletop, drift off to the side, stretching, twisting through the spine. Exhale, lift back up. Inhale, let the legs drop off to the side. And exhale, squeeze back up using those abdominal muscles. Inhale, reaching out. And exhale, lift, trying to focus on keeping that opposite shoulder down towards the ground and just twisting through the spine. Now we're coming to one side here where we're going to come off for 3 and lift, 4 and lift, 5, coming to that right side continuously. And now coming to the left for 1 and lift, 2, just concentrating on that one side, 3 and lift, 4 and lift, and 5 and lift. Right here, reach the legs out long, take the arms up overhead. And we're going to do a combination of the teaser and the jackknife. So lifting up into that teaser, inhale at the top. And on the exhale, roll down and then immediately roll those legs over. Lift up towards the sky. And then coming down, rolling down through the spine, taking the legs out towards 45 degrees as you lift the arms up overhead. And then lift that upper body up to meet your legs in the teaser. Again, rolling back down through the spine as you roll up and over and up to jackknife. Lower down, roll down through the spine, legs come out to 45 degrees, arms come up to frame the face. Lift into teaser. And exhale as you come down, legs come up and over. Press tall into jackknife. Fold back down. Roll down through the spine. Arms come up overhead. Lift up into teaser. And roll back down, roll over, jackknife, fold down, arms come up overhead. This time we're going to let our legs come the whole way down and we'll lift our teaser from a full vertical position, lifting the legs and the upper body at the same time. Rolling up and over into jackknife, whereas previously we were rolling down to a 45-degree angle with the legs. Now we're taking the legs the whole way down to the mat as the legs come up overhead, inhaling to prepare, and exhale, lift up into teaser. Inhale at the top. Exhale, roll down, legs come up and over. Press into jackknife. Lower the legs. Roll down one vertebrae at a time through the spine. Lift the arms up overhead as the legs come the entire way down to the mat. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift up into teaser. Nice open chest here. And roll back down. Legs coming over and pressing up into jackknife. Lowering down. Roll down through the spine. And here we're going to roll over, flex the feet, take the feet hip distance apart and roll down through the spine, just coming into the roll over exercise. Feet come together, point through the toes, roll over. Feet come hip distance apart, flex through the feet and roll down through the spine one vertebrae at a time. Point through the toes, bring the legs together, roll up and over, flex and take the legs hip distance apart. And roll down through the spine with control using those abdominals. Now, zip the legs together, point through the toes, roll over, flex the feet hip distance apart, roll down through the spine. Point through the toes, keeping the legs hip distance apart this time. As you roll over, zip the feet together and flex through the heels as you roll down. Same point and flex through the toes. We point on the roll over. We've just changed where our legs are at. So they're together, zip together as we roll down now, and hip distance apart with the toes pointed as we roll over. Exhale as you're rolling down through that spine. Again, that rolling motion is our exertion, so we exhale as we're rolling over and as we're rolling back down. Another one right here, pointing through the toes. Now flex the heels and zip those legs together. Roll down with control one vertebrae at a time. Now bend the legs, plant the feet down on the mat, and we're going into the shoulder bridge. Right leg lifting up, flex through the heel as you lower the leg, point to lift back up to 90 degrees. Bending through the leg, we're switching to the other leg now. Left leg lifts up, reaches out long and tall, flex and lower, and point to lift. 4, 5. Bend through the leg, plant the feet back on the ground, and roll down to the mat one vertebrae at a time. Now we're going to roll back up, going into shoulder bridge prep. So one leg lifts in a bent tabletop position. 4 and 5. Switching the legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plant that foot back down. Roll down through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. And again, peeling up one vertebrae at a time into shoulder bridge. Lift and extend the leg. Flex, point to lift, flex to lower. 3, 4, and 5. Switching legs. Left leg extending up long, toe towards the ceiling. Flex as you lower, point to lift. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lower the foot back down towards the mat and roll down through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Next, we'll lift up, roll back up into shoulder bridge and go into shoulder bridge prep for 5 on each side, making sure that we're in a nice straight line from our knees down to our shoulders and that our rib cage isn't flaring or extending. Switching the leg, 5 on the left. And lower the foot back down, roll down through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Inhale to prepare, and on the exhale, peel up the spine into your bridge position. Extend that right leg up for the shoulder bridge. Flex to lower, point to lift. 3, 4, 5. Lower the leg, switching to the left. Extend the left leg up long and lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plant that foot and roll down through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Inhaling to prepare. Exhale, peel the spine up off the mat, going into shoulder bridge prep. 5 on each leg. And 5. Switching the legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Plant the foot, roll down through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Now we're going to roll back up into that bridge and roll back down. Imprint your low back into the mat as you tuck the pubic bone forward and roll up. And then roll back down towards the mat, releasing the pelvis back to a neutral position. Imprint, roll up through the spine, and roll back down, releasing the pelvis back to neutral, and roll back up. Really think as you're coming in and out of this bridge here about peeling the spine off the mat one vertebrae at a time and then melting back down one vertebrae at a time, articulating through the spine. Don't think about you moving the back as a solid unit, but as lifting up through the individual vertebrae as you peel through the spine. Now right here, we're going to hold the hips up high at the top and we're going to take tiny little drops and press right back into bridge. Hips lower down and press back up. So we roll down through the upper vertebrae at a time and of the spine and then press right back up to the top. Not lowering the whole way, just taking little dips of the pelvis and back up. Feeling the glutes here warming and working. And come all the way back down towards your mat. Peeling up into bridge. And we're going to lift one leg up into a tabletop position and take a single leg, lower and lift right here. Just pressing through one leg. The right leg lifted into a tabletop position. Little dips here of the pelvis, pressing through one foot. Lowering down the right leg and lifting the left into tabletop, little dips of the hip, and pressing back up through that single leg. Return the left foot to the mat and take those small dips again, letting the pelvis drop down and press back up here, pressing through both feet evenly. Keep a steady flow of breath here, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And make sure that as you are taking these rather quick presses that you're not holding your breath. Rather, the breath is tied to your movement and connected and intertwined. And lower the hips back down towards the mat. Pull the knees in towards the chest and give a little rock from side to side for a back massage here. Bring the legs into tabletop. Reach the left leg out towards 45 degrees, and you're going to lower the leg and lift. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Making sure that you're keeping neutral spine right here, not getting air underneath the back, holding nice and steady through the trunk. Draw that leg back in. Left leg or right leg reaches out and away. Lower and lift. Stable and steady through the body. Only the working leg moving, engaging those abdominals. Draw that leg back in. Take the legs up towards 90 degrees, and we're going to lower the left down towards the mat and go into single leg circles. The leg is crossing over the resting leg, around and up. And now changing direction, coming to the outside. Down, crossing over your resting leg, and back up. Good. Now lift the left leg. And we're going to lower both legs out towards 45 degrees and hold here. Making sure not to sway through the spine, maintaining that neutral pelvis. Keep tension out of the chest and neck. Make this be all about the abdominals. Lift the legs up, right leg comes down to the mat, single leg circle through the left leg, coming internally, crossing over that resting leg and to the outside. And switching direction, coming to the outside. And lifting that leg up tall, right leg comes up to join it, and then take both legs, zip together out towards 45 degrees, point through those toes, reach those toes across the room, hold and maintain. Now bend the legs in towards tabletop. Peel up head, neck, and shoulders. We're going into this single leg stretch. Pull the knee in, reach the other leg out and away. Single pulse here. We're getting in quite a few reps, staying in this exercise. Draw both legs in, sit up nice and tall. Take the arms out wide and go into the spine twist. Exhale, twist. Inhale, return to center. Secure the hips and the feet. Make sure that the legs aren't sliding back and forth. We're just twisting through your center. When we work through our abdominal exercises, we're going to take quite a few reps as we move forward, and then we'll stop in between and have stretching and movement through the spine. Roll back down, head, neck, and shoulders lifted. We're going into the double leg stretch. Snow angel the arms around, reach the legs out towards 45 degrees as the arms come up to frame your face. Snow angel the arms back and around as you tuck the knees in towards your chest. Keep breathing, tying your breath to the movement, making sure as this gets challenging not to hold your breath, and also make sure that you are not arching through the spine with your rib cage extending. You want to keep that back in a neutral position, and we're not gaining any extra air underneath the back, particularly as we reach out and away with our limbs. Good. Lift up to seated, taking the legs about the width of the mat and moving into the saw. We're going to inhale, lift, exhale, twist, and reach. Pinky finger extending beyond the pinky toe. Inhale, lift, exhale, twist, and reach. Gaze coming back behind to the back hand, which turns up and faces the sky as we reach forward. Twist through the spine and then lean and reach out. Bringing the legs together, rolling back down, head, neck, and shoulders peeled out. We're going to the single straight leg stretch, and we're going to take a single pulse here as well. Scissor switching the legs as the head, neck, and shoulders are peeled up, and we're grabbing onto that leg somewhere between the back of the knee and the heel. The higher that you can get, the better. This is really wonderful for not only working the abdominals, but stretching out the hamstrings. Opposite leg reaches out and hovers off of the mat as we pull the top leg in towards the face. Lifting up tall, taking the feet about hip distance apart, and we're going into the spine stretch here. Exhale as you reach up and over. Inhale as you stack up tall. Now this exercise feels as if we're stretching even deeper, particularly right after we stretched out the hamstrings in the single straight leg stretch. Roll up through the spine, one vertebrae at a time, nice and tall. Feel that movement and flow through the back. That leaves you feeling longer, taller, and as if you've created more space and cushion between each vertebrae. Pay close attention to the spine, as so many exercises in Pilates encourage us to do. Rolling back down, head, neck, and shoulders coming down towards the mat this time. And we're going to lift up here with the arms behind the head and go into the double straight leg stretch. Making sure here in this abdominal exercise in particular that you are maintaining that neutral pelvis. If it's too much to have the head, neck, and shoulders peeled up, you can certainly lower them down towards the mat. If you do so, your legs won't come quite as low. Make sure you're not flaring through the rib cage or getting extra air. Those legs are zipped together and they move as a steady unit, reaching out and pulling back up towards 90 degrees. Keeping that gaze forward towards the legs, lower down the head, and we're going to come into the mermaid stretch right here. One leg out in front, the other leg tucked back behind. reaching up and over, stretching up and out of the hip, reaching and stretching through the obliques, getting a lot of mobility from side to side in the body. Making sure that you're not twisting too much through the body, but that you're reaching up and out of the hip. Now switching the legs. We come down nice and deep on the side of our front leg. And because of the angle and the bend of our knee on the other side, the stretch and reach is not going to be as deep. Feel the flow and reach here while being mindful of your knee joints. And again. Good. Coming back down onto our mat. Peel up head, neck, and shoulders, elbows wide, going into the crisscross. Hands are at the base of the head, supporting the head, just like in the double straight leg stretch. Now we are reaching one leg away the same way that we do in the single leg stretch, while peeling up our shoulder blade and reaching the elbow out and beyond the knee. Really focus here on twisting through the spine and reaching that elbow beyond the knee. That's how deeply we're twisting through the spine. Rather than just bringing our elbow to the opposite knee, we want to think about reaching beyond here. You will find that you work more deeply into the obliques if you focus there rather than having a small twist. Good, lowering down, tucking the knees in towards the chest and giving a little rock from side to side. Take the neck off to the right side, chin coming over the shoulder. Lift and take in the opposite direction. You may find that your neck needs a little stretch here after all that abdominal work. Flipping over now to hands and knees, we're going to reach out into a plank position for the leg pull down. Left leg lifts and the right foot we rock forward onto the toe and then press back through the heel. Switching feet, right leg lifts, lengthen out through that leg, rock forward and back. Lowering the foot, we're going to come down here onto our forearms and reach the hips up nice and high into a pike. Press back out into a full plank. Lift and out into plank. Send the hips up tall and back to plank. Lower down to the knees and press back towards child's pose or rest pose. Breathing deeply, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, releasing. Now we're going to lift up into our side plank and go into the twist. Reach up and through, come back into that plank, hips dip towards the mat, lift the hips, reach and twist through, lift up tall again into our plank, making sure that the hip stays stacked over hip when we're in that plank position, and then we twist through as we reach up and over. Now your top leg is coming to the front for your feet position rather than your feet being stacked one on top of the other. Drop through the hip, press up and reach through. Reset. Drop the hip to the mat, lift and twist. Really focusing on reaching underneath the body, reaching that arm through. Good, dip down, send those hips nice and high and twist. Coming back into a plank position and pressing down into down dog. Really reach through that stretch and come back into a rest pose. Coming to the other side. Again, top leg comes to the front. Dip through the hip, reach and press through. Dip down through the hip, lift the hips high and reach through. Reset in side plank. Focus on inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the exertion in the exercise. Use that breath to fuel you through it. Come into that plank, push back into down dog, reach into that stretch. Come down onto the knees and back down to child's pose. Breathing deeply. Reaching out long into a prone position on the stomach, reach the arms out, and we're going to lift the upper body and the legs at the same time. Lift and lower. Lift, working through the back and lowering down. From here, hands come underneath the shoulders, press up into swan, and lower down the upper body. Again, lifting up and rolling down. Taking these swan push-ups here, keeping the shoulders rolled down and away from the ears. Nice long neck with your gaze forward. Exhale as you roll down and release the air. Inhale, lift. And focus on rolling down one vertebrae at a time in this prone position. Nice and round through that extension of the spine. Keeping those elbows tight to the body, feeling them graze across the rib cage. Now we're dropping into the Swan Dive. Exhale as you roll forward. Inhale, lift through the chest. Nice and round through the spine. You're like the rungs at the bottom of a rocking chair. Press back into rest pose. That was quite a bit of extension. Reach back here and release. And coming back out in a plank, lowering down into a prone position on the stomach, we're coming into the single leg kick. Bringing the hands together, lifting up onto the elbows, tucking the pubic bone into the mat. We're taking 2 kicks right here. Just point through the toe and kick, kick, lengthen. Kick, kick, lengthen. Good, working through those hamstrings. Making sure that we're scooping in and up through the abdominals. The pubic bone is tipped forward and pressing into the mat at all times. So you can really feel that resistance in the legs. And press back again into rest pose. hips, press them back, come into down dog, and come back out towards your plank, and right back to down dog. Going back and forth here, down dog, plank position, and lift, and extend. Drop down to the knees. For just a moment, and then we're coming up into push-ups. So we're going to come out to plank, push up, lift the hips to down dog, return to plank, push up, lift the hips, down dog. Make sure with your push-ups here that your elbows are grazing along your rib cage. They're tight to the body. If you find these push-ups too challenging to be doing this many repetitions, when you come back out into your plank position, you can come to plank, drop to the knees, and take the push-up there with a lower lever plank position. Returning now to this down dog to plank, lift, and press back out to plank. Dropping to the knees and pressing back to rest pose. Breathe deeply. Take the hands back behind. Turn the palms face up to the ceiling. Coming back down to a prone position, we're going into the rocking. Reach back behind and grab at the ankles. Lift up through the body. We're going to exhale as we tip forward. Inhale, lift the upper body, rocking back and forth. You may find that you need a little stretch or a resistant band here behind your feet. If you can't quite reach back and grab, release back. That's an exercise that gets better over time. For me, I need to take my knees a little wide on that because of a past knee injury. It's too much pressure for me to have them close to the body. Bringing the feet in, we're going to go into rolling like a ball or rolling back. We're going to inhale as we roll back to our shoulder blades, exhale as we lift up and balance, maintaining a C curve of the spine and trying to roll the weight back just to the shoulder blades and not to the head and neck. Really important to get the breath pattern down for rolling like a ball so that then we can master the open leg rocker. And now we'll go straight into the open leg rocker. Rolling back and exhale, lift up. If you lose your balance like that, go ahead and bend your legs and then lift back up when you've got it again. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, lift up, open the chest at the top, and then C curve to begin the roll back towards your mat. When it comes to balancing in this exercise and getting that rock back and forth to open the chest at the top and C curve on your way back, the breath becomes really important. Inhale as you roll back to your shoulder blades and exhale, lift up and hover in balance. This is definitely an exercise that when you master, when you find that sweet spot, is so wonderful. Bring the legs together, lift the arms into a teaser shape, and hold here. Lower the legs and reach forward. Really release down and stretch. Feel how the hamstrings and the low back have given and stretched throughout our practice thus far. Now we're going to stretch out through the legs. We're going to come into a nice deep lunge. Take the arms up to the sky. Square the hips, keep them facing forward. Feel that nice stretch through the hip flexor muscles. Bring the hands down towards the mat. Press that front leg straight and back and lower the body down towards the leg as you stretch out the hamstrings. Coming down into pigeon here, we're going to keep that back leg active, the toes tucked into the ground, leg lifted. Press up out of the fingertips, nice open chest. And press back into plank. Now the left leg comes forward as we lunge and stretch through the hip flexors, arms up to the sky, or they can be down to the mat also. Bringing the hands to the mat now, stretching that front leg straight and back, fold the body forward as you stretch out the hamstrings. And now coming into pigeon pose with the left leg forward. Right back leg is active, toes tucked and pressing into the ground. Let's next go into a hip opener. So we're going to sit cross-legged, but we're going to have ankle over top of knee and knee over top of ankle. Now take your elbows and rest them on top of one ankle and one knee and hinge forward slightly at the waist. Really sinking in and breathing. Nice steady flow of breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. As you're breathing with each breath, tell your body to release and relax into that stretch. Now reach your arms out in front, fold over, lower into this, and take your fingertips out to the floor. Walk them out as far as is comfortable here. Stacking up tall through the spine. We're going to change directions here. So now the top leg comes down to the bottom. And your now bottom leg is on the top. Ankle over top of knee, knee over top of ankle. Elbows pressing into one ankle and one knee. Slight hinge forward, breathing deeply. Now reach those fingertips out in front and fold forward a little bit deeper into the stretch. And as you come deeper into the stretch, deepen into your breath. And lift up tall. Thank you so much for joining me for this session today. If you would like to see more of Pilates practice with me, check out my links below in the write-up for my Patreon account. I have an extremely affordable Mat Pilates option where I teach you Mat Pilates, all of the classical exercises, and go through them one by one so you can learn how to master each exercise from a beginner level to a more intermediate or advanced level. On my Patreon account, you can also find a Barre option for regular weekly classes, as well as Springboard Pilates. So if you have access to a Springboard, you can take online Springboard classes with me. Check out my channel for more Mat Pilates, Barre, and Springboard Pilates. I'll see you guys next time in the studio.